Hello, everyone, and good morning. I have recently said this week that, or I said on Sunday that we are going to be yen strength, dollar weakness, and dollar yen is starting to fall a bit. I said this was a great support level. Could probably also just put it down to here, but for me, this seems to be okay, having a bit of a downside pressure. Now, that fits perfectly with what I've said previously, or earlier this week, where we are believing that market or yen should go lower to about 3rd of December. Now, 3rd of December from last year, for those who remember, was quite a tactical bottom on the yen pairs, even though we were rising for quite some time. 3rd, give or take, was the very sad bottom. Now, there is a lot of issues here with yen. There is, you can say it should go higher, it should go lower, it should do this, it should do that. Well, first of all, for the yen bulls, we have seen Bank of Japan member coming out and said we are close to hiking. That would send that would send the yen higher. On the flip side, we have seen the prime minister elect in Japan sending a bill of 43 trillion yen worth of QE or quantitative easing or extra money in the economy that should weaken the yen. But that was about here. So that hasn't really seen any difference because the cost of inflation, food inflation, is so high that people are not really going to be bothered. And also seems like the market is not finding to be bothered about what this QE would be. So it's a bit of a strange thing. But what I'm mostly disappointed about here is that we didn't hit the monthly target. But we can definitely do so. So, dollar yen, I'm just waiting for this one to break, to be honest with you. And for that matter, could have taken a trade this morning. And whatever I'm going to talk about here is only my own trades. You do you, I do me, and then we get along the way. Sharing ideas. So just personally what I'm currently doing. So what am I currently doing? Is I bought Euro CAD yesterday, and I think I posted it wide and high, and my entry is 162.40. It is driven, or it's based upon, almost solely based upon seasonality. And if you're new to seasonality, then it's basically what happens every single year at the same point. So if you go back to 25th of November last year, that was the very bottom of your cat, and we rose for about, I don't know, 300 pips or something, 300-400 pips until 22nd of December, where I believe it might not be the peak, but at least is the end of whatever we think should be happening. So, which is this one to go higher. That would about almost 400 pips. You could have gotten 400 pips out of it if you were in some, if you got out the week before at the weekly target. So that would then for this time would give you a bit more than 450. Fair enough, all in all. For this morning, so that's doing about all right. The cat wants to go out. Why the Philippines? 2 seconds. Didn't even know she was there. Hello, Dexter. Long time. Absolutely no see. So, you're a cat. straight in the money yesterday, came down lower. I hoped, kind of in my soul, that it would come even lower before turning higher, but that is it is what it is. Um, so what is it? Dollar weakness? Sorry, is it CAD weakness or is it euro strength? Euro is having a bit of a great day today. So what could that be? I believe there should have been, that's an hour ago or so, we should have had some GDP out of Germany, which was just 0.3. So nothing spectacular, nothing new there. Okay. Then financial juice should also come out with something. Yeah, German OP, GDP. Japan Minister of Foreign. There's no date as yet. The China South Korea summit. Okay, cool. It might be that there is Ukraine, not necessarily a Ukraine deal, but at least more likeliness of a Ukraine deal. But I haven't seen, on what I've heard and seen, seems to be very unlikely to be happening. So to me, it is what it is. Pound seems to be preparing for new low. I agree. Yeah, if you take a look at pound, oh, I was supposed to sell that. That's why we're here. Oh, okay. I was bothering about other things and now it fell. Okay. It is what it is then. Happy to see you, Sutu. Maybe today's news will break 30 minutes range. Yeah. Yeah. Buy it. Okay. I'll take it. So, how big of a stop loss do we need? 100? Well, this is trading tomorrow today. So, yeah, think that way, and then whatever that bottom is, because we have the UK budget tomorrow. So if I go 100, 100 at the moment, just for the fun of it, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I wasn't planning on doing pound now, but fair enough. I guess tomorrow they have the UK budget, which is going to, so they have to cover a 20 or 30 or something billion-pound gap in their budget. They need to raise taxes. Marcus doesn't like taxes, and the problem with that is that we are probably going to see that we're probably going to see that the market doesn't like it at all. TDJ says, I guess you're a swing trader. Yes, sir. What's your average holding time? A month, I think. What's your risk per trade? Less than half of percent. What's your maximum amount of positions you have at the same time? I don't know actually. It's quite something. So in my system, I want to build, right? So if I get an entry here and it goes into profit, I buy the next support. So 10 to 15. But of course the risk, and most of them are then risk free. So that's not full stop loss on all of them. That's my maximum, but I don't like being in that situation, to be honest with you. Ich don't like that. CAD yen, Aussie yen, Euro yen, all falling today. Seems like I just spoke the truth. Okay. £9 coming in for a short. Yeah. So I really like to build on top of each other. So, and the reason why TJD is that I tried day trading, and for me, I couldn't make it profitable for me myself, and it was way too stressful. I'm not saying it's not worth it. Doesn't work for nobody else, but I'm just saying that for me, I couldn't make it profitable. So, sad. But it is what it is, I guess. You're welcome. You're very much welcome. I've been doing this for 10 years plus now, or like 12. But so I've tried and tested most strategies out there. Not the newer ones like SMC and wave theory and what is this thing it's called nowadays? That's too new for me. It's too modern. Smart money concept. We're probably doing the same thing at the end of the day. Fair value gap. I don't know. I don't know who taught you that, guys, but just sounds to me something funny. Why do I say something funny? Because it is. Um, I was never taught it, basically. Um, Second of all, what also on my radar was dollar Swissy lower. Currently not at the moment anywhere near that. CAD Swissy, since you're mentioning Swissy, Dexter, CAD Swissy also has a bearish uh, seasonality going forward. So, but again, for me, I'm just waiting for it to break 0.75715 or 0.57 10. The reason why I need proof that we actually going to go into the direction that I believe we are. So instead of forcing it up here, I think it's going to go lower above and then it goes higher. I need to make this one come in lower. I don't mainly look for longs. No, I short and buy and sell whatever. For me, it depends what drives the market. Um, New Zealand, to me, has a bit of a upside potential at the moment. The Reserve Bank New Zealand tomorrow is going to have their last rate cut, and since the market is not expecting any more rate cuts coming out of New Zealand, that could give it a bit of a bullish push to it. And to me, this is a reversal, though a very slow one. So it doesn't speak to me, especially because that's a large force. The end of the rate cycle, the end of a cut cycle, either hike or cut, is a strong move by itself, or a relief rally for that matter. And we are in a great position for it to turn higher, so or lower for that matter. So kind of a 50-50, but if I were to short it, I would definitely be up in here in these reversals rather than it being at current level. So pick and choose and pick where you want to be. To me, we are far into a short, into a bearish trend. And if I were to, I normally lose here. So even if it goes lower, I'll be like, bruv, take a chill pill. You know you're losing here. You want to give money to the market, just give it to people who actually need it instead. Mm, yeah, the New Zealand economy has been very weak this past season and incredibly, almost annoyingly weak. But it's now seeming to turn around a bit. But also they have cut their interest rates to quite low, so and that kind of contributes to inflation, and that's what they're trying to do, get inflation and GDP back up again. So yeah, I think that the tide is turning for them at the moment. Hello, as is no time no no long time no see. So what I do, TJ, I normally look for fundamental reasons. Um, Now fundamental reasons in itself is fun, or is doesn't drive it, but I look for drivers of the market. If it is interest rate, if it's inflation, if it is sentiment, whatever that is, then I go back to has this happened before? So I go down to seasonality. That's like 80% of what I do, what I'm looking for. Seasonality, has this happened before? Because every single year, for some pairs, for some patterns, it does the same thing. is almost annoyingly every year anyways. Okay, cool. And then I go to sentiment and say, okay, what is COT, which we don't have access to right now. And then I say, okay, technically I'll be bearish. And that's kind of my way. And then I can hold it. I can hold a swing trade. I can hold a day trade, sorry. But I also like to day trade into a swing. So if I were to buy here, I would be trying to buy somewhere in this area here, and I will try to hold it for as long as I possibly can. But it would still be a daily pivot, or and if I were to day trade it, I just hold it for longer. And the reason why I do that, I want to sleep nicely and comfortably in bed at night. And that's kind of where I am. I don't want to stress about, oh, what if, um, or even during the day I want to be a human being. I'm not a human being when I'm day trading because I'm so stressed. It just takes my life, quality of life away, unfortunately. Riskier trade this week, Dexter? Yeah. I mean, oh, so yen pairs, which I'm looking at, and then euro CAD, to me is, I mean, we are doing okay. What's my entry criteria? How many years do you have? Yeah, I don't. Jokingly, technically, I just need a bar. Just need a trend. I really like trend reversals. So, which one is the better one to show you like a good one? So for euro, for that matter, euro. I took euro dollar last week. So for me, this isn't the most beautiful in the world, but one, I needed to break previous high with a candle. That's that candle. I'm not that candlestick dependent, but in this case, just to show you. And then makes a new high, and then the pullback. The pullback can come, anywhere from here and all the way down here. So that's a 50, 45 pip range of where I can get my entry. I really want my entry to be somewhere in the 38, 50, 61. That's just to show you. But what I use generally is I use pivot points, which is just future support and resistance based upon the average, the high and the close of the previous period. And the next day it comes in at a central pivot, which is the buy price, the aggressive buy price. And then I said, cool, that's what I would do. So that this candle was my entry, but this would also be my entry. And then we go to the weekly target. And then sometimes, so this would be 1648. And if we hit, great. If you go higher, I don't care. And then we fell down again. So to me, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Reversals of into a bullish trend, or for that matter, a bearish trend where we are, first of all, breaking or coming down to the previous swing high, low. Then that's just your warning signal. Then we break it again. And after we break it, we break the support either here or here, whatever that is, and whenever that is. That's my signal to get into a trade. So that's a pretty deep pullback. That's a number one trade. I have 50% chance of making money there. That's quite rough. I want to wait for the new lower low, then the pullback. So that would be my entry, because I have a 70% chance of making money there. So to me, it's just about probabilities. And then, yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't get it all the time. My EuroCAD yesterday was a range at best, but if you're going to say double bottom, higher high, higher low, that would be my number one trade. And this is my number two, kind of. And then we're going higher. So kind of the same situation, but on the other side, not. But yeah. And I'm not necessarily a reversal person every single time. I can also do continuation, but when I do continuation trades, I always lose or mess it up or something. Like, I can't do it. I suck. What's your opinion on December? Oh, that's difficult. Dollar is difficult for December. I really want to be. I'm 13 years old. I really wanted to be falling in December. Like, risk on, everything is great, fantastic. But with these Fed members being more hawkish and not cutting anymore, and lack of data, I believe we're not going to have a cut in December for Fed, and that's going to drive dollar higher again. Whenever market figures that one out. So to me, well, okay. I mean, you do you. Um, but yeah, I think dollar generally should be bearish for December, especially last week of December. Market should probably have a bullish turn before that because they are pricing out the rate cut they currently have priced in at 80% chance. So yeah, is New Zealand dollar a barrel or sell? Uh, no, not really. Not really. I think your dollar is a better buy, but New Zealand dollar to me is a buy soon. I'm expecting dollar to weaken this week, and I'm expecting New Zealand to strengthen. So by all means, I'm waiting for this one to break higher. Why am I not look for a sell? You might ask, sir. It's because it's been falling for so long time, and right now we are very if this it would be like here. So even though if we were to look for a sell, we're very low in the wave. So if it's kind of like being like here at the same time or here, like we have all this pullback to do before we can before fall again. So even though if I were to look for a sell, number one, we have very far into a trend. That is a big risk for me because generally we tend to turn around and then go higher, and then I'm like, you sold the bottom. And me, I love selling the beginning of it. And if I don't get the beginning of it, I'll be like, adios, amigos. I'll do something else. Because that really pains me, and it really pains me when I do that. Selling bottoms is kind of the worst thing I can do out there. So do you just look for trades and monitor and manage your position once a day? Yeah, I think so. Or even yeah. To me, the most important day of the week is now London Open. Um, uh, that's kind of where the push comes for the week. It's where you get the best entries, and then after that, it's just managing. So right now, I'm looking at the yen having a push lower would be great. Having a pullback on that one. CAD yen having a push lower, waiting for a pullback. Euro yen having a push lower, waiting for a pullback. Pound yen pushing lower, hoping for a pullback. New Zealand yen pushing lower, hoping for a pullback. Dollar yen pushing lower, hoping for a pullback. Because now to me this is all the yen pairs are turning bearish, meaning yen is turning more bullishly, and it has done its little turnaround, which I expected yesterday. And we also had a discussion about that on Sunday. That would be about there or so. I would say we're going to go bullish. And the reason why we're going to go bullish on yen, or why yen is bullish this week, is just money flow. People have shorted the absolute life out of Japanese. So we're just having a bit of a breather, and then we're going to pick it up later type situation. So that's a yen move. And then because if we look at dollar today, well, it has fallen, but it hasn't really fallen. So there is that. And what I also really dislike, I dislike ranges. I don't like ranges. Why don't you look at range? Why don't you like ranges? The New York Rangers are fantastic. No, um, it's when you go into a range and it hasn't broken the range, it can do that. And then you're wondering which direction we're going to. And then even if you try to sell that, and you're like, then the market is going to be like, we make a brand new high, take your stop loss out, go all the way down again, take your stop loss out. It's just going to take your stop losses left, right, and center for absolutely fun. And then why were you in those trades anyways? What about yen interventions? They're less likely because dollar yen is falling. But if I were Bank of Japan now or Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, and be like, okay, cool. The yen is getting strengthened by itself. Let's push it. I expect it to happen around 160. 160. Okay, 161. But because I think it was Goldman Sachs who said 160, and I think that anything above 158 is a risk for it to be for them to come in. Now, they also said somewhere, or someone said something somewhere, that they need low liquidity and a bearish dollar to do it. So they just need to push it a bit further down against the dollar. And then Japan is the biggest holder of US cash equivalents and bond market. So there, it's very easy for them to just sell some of their dollars and bring them back to Japan, and then that just make dollar yen incredibly weak. But if they intervene, that is a huge risk for me, because that's normally just a fall and then in turns goes back up again. Market absorbs it. So even if it falls and even if they intervene, the best thing for them is just for the market to continue lower on its own, hopefully at least, so that it naturally kind of dies out by itself. But if they have to use money on it, you bet sure that we're going to sell yen again, and even more money than before. That's what generally has happened. And where was that from yesterday? Mm, nope, nope, nope. Oh, I don't have it right now. Okay, there was an MUFG article I had yesterday about the MUFG. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. Which one? There we go. Okay, I've got it. Where they went through some of the past interventions by Fed and no by Japan, and okay, they tried buying here, dollar yen went lower but higher. They tried buying here, dollar yen went lower but higher. They were successful more in the 2005s ish, but see here in 2010, 2011, it didn't really do anything. So, but yeah, 2024 was hilarious. It was embarrassingly um, bad for them. Their outcome wasn't as how they would predict, or what should be easy wasn't as easy as they thought. So it was embarrassing to them, to be honest with you. Do you class each trade individually, even though it appear that you'll may trade many yen pairs, sometimes increasing your yen exposure? No, because how I classify my trades by setup and driver. So this is a number one trade, first pullback to resistance, and then I have news trading, or yeah, news events or so, or even yen intervention for that matter. It's a different setup. It's a different criteria. It's a different. Um, it's a yeah. It's a different setup. And then my number two trade here is a different setup again. So those are two different setups, two different um, statistics, and then I categorize. Um, what else do I categorize it with? Um, yeah. Um, is it a risk on move or is it not? But more than anything else, technically that's how I do it. And then it's also driven by what is interest rate expectations going to be. Are we higher? or are we gonna go lower? So, but yeah. So the thing that I really see people struggle with is identifying identifying and identifying and splitting up their trade ideas, and see that is sometimes when I go through someone's trading history, I see 10 different setups, but they swear that it's the same, it's the same, it's the same. But I see them having 10 different. And what I've done throughout the years is, of course, narrowing it down, narrowing it down, narrowing it down. What time frame, what setup, what time of year, what time of day, time of week am I supposed to be in? And I've got rid of a lot of which normal people would say, oh, it's a good trade, or it's a 50% chance trade, but that's actually leading to a lot more losses than if you hadn't. So I'm really a fan of having you to go through your trading history and really refine and really look into what is happening here. Where can you take away some of the fat in your or losses in your trading that doesn't need to be there. Um, quite frankly, it's not necessary to be fighting with it about it all the time. So to me, mm, yeah, 29th of April was last intervention. Was it? I don't think so. Wasn't it one in October? Or maybe that wasn't an intervention. Then um, maybe that was a market just dropping out of nowhere. July 2024, when it reached 160 threshold. This one is 10th of July, and then they also did a 31st of July, one I know. So yeah, this one. So that's why I'm saying. That's why I said April is not the last one. My memory is still serving me great. This one. 10th of 11th of July, and then 31st of August or something, or just that one. But yeah, cool. But also this market here, I was expecting Bank of Japan to start hiking again, and then it kind of stopped hiking, and then now dollar yen going higher again. Do you focus on Ukraine war ending? No. Why? Give me a good reason, or give me a okay. Try to predict why. Why do I think so? Why do I not? Why do I not? Technically, I do care about Ukraine. I really don't want this war. Hate the war. But why doesn't it make? Why do I not bring it up in my trading? Because you have to look at how risk event happens. So it's a risk event, right? What is a risk event? Risk event is war. It is tsunamis. It is, for that matter, a killing of Soleimani. It's the rockets that initially Israel sent to Iran or to Qatar, or Iran shooting at Qatar, or whatever. Rockets, war. Um, or the oil pipeline in Saudi Arabia that was struck in 2019. Stuff like that. That's a risk, right? So it's the first fall is always the first disturbance. Okay, and then once it's being priced in, market tends to go back higher again, and then that's what the risk was, and that could just be 1 hour candle. That's where we're pricing the risk, and then if it continues, and then whenever the market feels like oh everything is over, we go back up again. So the Ukraine war was priced in 2022, and if it ends now, market is like well, it does because this is a time where there was sanctions on oil and gas. That's where the disruption was in 2022. Oil went through the moon, gold went through the moon. That's the time where the uh, disruption happened, and that's where the money and the risk is. Now it's just like, okay, what financial sense, what financial implications would it have for Europe if Ukraine ends? Well, number one and number two in that situation is that Europe is going to spend less money. That might be bearish for euro. But we also know that they've been trying to make a deal for quite some time now. Um, and I think that if the Ukraine war ends, fine for the markets. Maybe this is a controversial take, but um, market is so quote unquote used to it that it just looks to other drivers instead, unfortunately. So it's the same thing with the Israel Palestine. There was some market moves in the end, but not really. Um, but of course now if you have a new tsunami in Japan today, oh, the yen is going to strengthen for some days and then turn back higher and then fall again and then like nothing ever happened. So you have to study risk events, and I have done a couple of. I have a. I don't know where it is, but I have written some articles around risk events and how to behave in that, or what generally tends to happen in that behavior. What behavior tends to happen during that time. Sorry. But the easiest one to go through is 2019 on oil. 2019, you have a couple of risk events. Number one risk event was the oil, the pipeline that was struck by the Houthis in Saudi Arabia, and market said, "Okay, woohoo!" Okay, market said, "Whoa, whoa, 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 that's not good. We are going to send market through the roof," and then they fixed it, and the market was like, "Oh, okay, no, it doesn't really matter then. Fine." And then you have the killing of Soleimani in Iraq, a high-ranking Iranian Revolution Guard official, and then that was America doing that in Iraq. And then here is the time when Iran hit back, and they didn't strike the base. They sent rockets towards a base, a U.S. base, but didn't really hurt any Americans. I believe that there was probably some watchmen who perished because of the debris, but generally speaking, didn't escalate. Rocket fell. But this is war this is a potential war in the Middle East. And then COVID came, and then oil went through the bottom. So, yeah, yeah. So to me, risk events, and then you can go back to and then see 2022. That was oil going through what 120, 130, $130 a barrel. Why did it do that? Because Russia was threatening with nuclear war. And why did it fall? Because it didn't follow through. So there is that. So that was just a threat of something happening, and since it didn't actually happen, market priced out the risk and said, okay, since you're not going to do anything, we're just going to leave you alone then. And then now, the driver right now for oil, in my simple opinion, is basically supply demand, inflation or lack of inflation in the United States of America, and the general geopolitical state, and we're currently at $58 a barrel, which is quite low. It's, could have been better. So also we have also seen Saudi coming in and increasing production twice, I think, this year, if I'm not too wrong. So that of course keeps the oil depressed a bit. But I'm a bit surprised that they want to keep it so low because they need money to fund their governments, and their government function. I think their break-even price is in the estimates about $70 a barrel for them to make money and pay for all the government functions. But they pump their cost of production at a barrel of oil is believed to be around $12 a barrel, the lowest one in the world. So they can live nicely with almost any price of the oil. So maybe that's why they're doing it, so they can flush out other countries that has way higher cost of producing a barrel of oil. I'm not sure who has the highest one, but America is definitely on the more higher side. Russia is higher by about, I think, about $20, $25 a barrel. fracking, I know, was about, or estimated to be around 40 $45 a barrel. That was some years ago, that estimate was happening. So maybe after all this inflation, everything is higher. But yeah, it comes down to how much do you need to drill, how far do you need to drill, and how are you going to transport it, and how are you going to get it to your customers. The problem with America and Texas is that it needs to be stored before it's put onto ships. In Saudi, it can just be sent straight to ships. So they don't need that storage facility. And that's also why US oil went negative in 2020, because they had no storage facilities left. So yeah, makes sense. CAD yen, Aussie yen, Euro yen, New Zealand yen, dollar yen. Oh, great. Fantastic. Dollar, euro, pound, pound. We were saying that should be a good price to sell pound. Okay. Bearish daily. We're above daily. I want to do weekly. I want to do M3. So M3 is still 31.45. Okay, fair enough. I know who are people who are shorting the pound right now. So it's all about survival. It's all about survival. I don't expect a cut, no. Well, the thing is that the Fed is supposed to be supportive of the economy with information that are being provided. Now the U.S. government is delaying that until after that set meeting. They don't have any. They don't have any reason to. They don't have any recent data for October, November. So in my opinion, they shouldn't cut. But 30% after Waller's speech. Yeah, so it was 80 yesterday though. No, also there's plenty of hawkish and dovish members. Um, Categorize Fed members from hawkish to dovish. According to AI though, like. Most hawkish is Michelle Bowman, Schmid, Hammock, and Musalem, and then neutral are Williams and Collins and Burke and everything. And then, so what I found, I think it was earlier this week. I don't know why. Maybe that it was like four hawkish comments and 5 dovish comments. So I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this this much division in the Fed's members' opinions in a long time. That doesn't mean that it's never happened before, but to me, I can't remember them being so divided into what they are supposed to be doing. So that's also where you have the market. So market right now, you say 77 or 80. But a lot of them haven't really made their decision yet. So in my simple opinion, is that since it's so divided, we're going to have a very divided split meeting, that they should land on not doing anything. But yeah. It is what it is, I guess, at the end of the day. Waiting for euro dollar to break 15.50. Hasn't happened yet. I really thought this London Open is gonna drive it. New Zealand dollar as well, making a slightly new low, hasn't broken about 56.20. To me, it's pointless of shorting it because it's so far bearish, so far gone, that the only way for this to go higher is the only thing for this thing to do is to go higher. Because we have been bearish for so long, that doesn't mean it does go higher. It just means that I can't short it because it's so low. Dollar Swiss supposed to fall, hasn't fallen yet. EuroCAD supposed to go higher. Yeah, I mean, looks about right, that one. Another one is CAD Swiss I need to pay attention to. Nope. Then yen pairs, I said they should make new lows today. They are definitely making new lows. Euro yen, CAD yen, pound yen, not so much as the other ones, okay. New Zealand yen, dollar yen, ooh, okay. So to me, I am just waiting for this one to break here. And then I want to break, then I want to pull back. So I am a bit more, not necessarily more protected, sorry, that's not the word. It's a better setup for me. So that's the first one. And then we just make a new low, and then we fall, and then everything is happy days. Because what I'm looking at, for example, when dollar yen falls, the first pullback, of course you can take it, but the other problem is that it should actually, in my opinion, still go higher. But if it doesn't, then prove to me that I'm wrong. Then I will just get another sell later. So if we are lower, if we're going lower, prove it to me. Give it to me. So I'm looking for sell on dollar because it's took a third quarter high and dovish statements. Do you watch QT highs or lows? What is QT, by the way? Quarter? QT? No. What's QT? Yeah, you have to have seasonality, bro. That's why this is falling now. I wouldn't have guessed it otherwise. But I can go through seasonality very soon. If you just tell me what you mean is QT. Quarters. Okay. If you say if quarters is just Q for me, just a large Q. Or specify which quarter you're talking about. Yeah. So if you're talking about Q3, I'll just spell it like this. Then yeah, everything is great. I'm looking for sell for dollarish. No. Do I watch quarter highs and lows? No, not really. That's not really bothering me so much. Because at the end of the day, maybe it's put into seasonality for me, but I haven't bothered. And the other thing is that what I've done is that I've not that it's perfect, but I've run through so many charts to find patterns and time of year, time of day, time of month, time of whatever that is, for it to make a low, make a high at the same time every year, that I haven't found anything there. I'm not saying it's not there, but when I did my research, I didn't find anything there. So maybe something I need to do again. But yeah, no, I don't watch those. Also, the pricing is quite dynamic depending on the inflation expectations and interest rate expectations pricing in. So yeah. We are getting a bearish day today. Now, isn't it beautiful? You're welcome at this. Now, just to prove what I'm doing actually makes sense to somebody. Is that for the past 5 years or last year, we have around 14, 15 to 20th made a high. And what I'm more than anything else looking forward to, it's not necessarily this fall today on yen pairs. I am way more interested in 3rd of December, because if that is the bottom, if we now fall, let's say 500 pips or whatever, and we get a 500 pip discount, and we're gonna go back up to take 158, then that's a fantastic opportunity, or it's a fantastic setup. Because from last year, that's exactly what happened. And to me, that's just speaks. Oopsies. That to me just speaks absolutely complete control of what you're doing as a trader. So if we are here right now, which we are not, but yeah, we're currently Monday, Tuesday, there, about there, and then we fall off the face of this earth, and then if we are miraculously ready to be buying somewhere around 3rd of December, which is 3rd of December this year, by the way. It's a Wednesday. So if you're ready around a Wednesday to look for the reversal and take the pullback, again, wait for reversal, wait for the break, wait for the pullback to around 38.61, and then take it higher. And then we go even higher than before the fall. I think that's not necessarily the trade of the year, but it's definitely going to make me absolutely beautifully happy. And that's across the yen pairs. Fortunately or unfortunately. And at the moment, I'm not really so interested in taking the highs, because right now, I said yesterday, we are 50-50 here. So that's not good enough for me to be shorting. So right now, everything is making a new low. Everything is great. Maybe I need to go back to New York session and then look for the pullback. But yeah, Pound is having a better day. Aussie is not having a great day. Euro is not having a great day. Our EuroCAD trade is having a much better needed day. Euro New Zealand is doing whatever Euro New Zealand is doing. The 10-year falling. The Japanese 10-year is also rising, though they are at 1.8. Okay, they're signaling at least a rate hike, or the market thinks we're gonna have a rate hike soon. So yeah, fantastic. Just kind of fantastic, yeah, fantastic things happening. But of course, we see yen off the charts again. Great setup yesterday. I didn't take it. I didn't expect it either. So it is what it is. So maybe that's why Swissy is so weak at the moment, or that's an expression of Swissy being so weak. But yeah, I thank you guys for joining in. Hope I've made some sense, and then I'll post my trades in Discord, and we'll take it from there. Boom.